I took a morning walk this morning, as I always do every morning.
I don't believe you.
Anyway, I'm a fair weather walker. That's not true. Anyway, I easily get out of habit, so I haven't done a morning walk for. Look, it's not important. What is important is have a guess what happened when I was on the walk. So I'll just so you know, I went up the hill, past the playground, up to the shop to get almond milk.
Did you get some bread?
No. I made an executive decision to not get bread because last time I was there, I spent, and this is not a lie, 5 minutes at least looking at all the bread. So I thought, I'm not going through that again. I know their bread is rubbish.
Well,
If it had been like a nice, crusty, freshly baked, I don't know, like ciabatta or sourdough, yeah, I would have taken up the $20 you need for that. So guess what happened on the way up?
I'm going to guess. You saw some little baby birds that have been thrown out of their nests. There seems to be a lot lately.
What are you talking about?
Walking up the road, yeah.
What, have you seen them?
I've seen 3.
Now tell me where.
1 near the park
Yeah.
and 2 across the road from the park. Yeah.
I can't believe you got it in the first go.
Was that actually
so
the thing? Oh,
disappointed.
really? Oh, no.
So I'm walking along
Yeah.
past the park there, and a bird drops out of the sky and lands right in front of me.
Yeah.
My next step, I would have stood on it, and it was already dead.
Oh.
And I've looked up in the tree, and I couldn't see a nest. So on my way back, I looked in the tree again, couldn't see a single nest. And I'm thinking it was dropped by another bird.
By a passing bird.
Yeah.
Like
Because
they
it was
flew
already
it out of the
it was
nest and-
already dead. And yeah. And not rotting dead, just dead. It was they're noisy
The
miners.
noisy miners, yeah.
And yeah, I've seen there was one there a couple of weeks ago when I was walking birdie, and I picked it up and put it back in the tree. I knew it wouldn't survive, but I thought I'll just see if it can sit back up in the tree.
Yeah.
And I put it there, and next time I looked, like came back or whatever, it wasn't there. And then, yeah, more recently I saw one dead right where you're saying, right where this one was actually.
Jeez, that's like they're just dropping them all out from somewhere. It just seems like it's a springtime thing, obviously, where not all of the chicks are going to survive.
Well, this was weird because,
There's
I mean, it's not often you're walking along and one falls right at your feet. But I didn't expect, like I would expect that it would still be alive, but it won't survive, you know. Like,
yeah.
But this was clearly already dead.
Did on impact, like, yeah.
It was
Oh,
already
dear.
dead.
It's so hard
And
to
there was
think
no
about.
nest. There was no nest. There was no bird, as in that there was nothing jumping around in the tree. There wasn't like a parrot or anything.
It is sad, and we see them every spring. I did try to rescue one once. The
Yes.
kids all got involved. We
That
brought
was
it home.
just such unnecessary grief you brought into the home. I don't know
Well,
why you would do that.
Because it was an older one. It wasn't like one of these little fledgling ones with no.
4 days old.
No, it was a bit older than that, but it looked like it had a chance.
This one had feathers.
Yeah.
This
okay.
one was,
Oh.
this one would have been on the verge of like flying.
Mm.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, well, Henry didn't make it, and the kids were sad.
So, well, there you go. You got it in one.
I did.
A bird fell out of the sky onto the pavement in front of me.
I didn't quite imagine it was that dramatic, but yeah.
I thought, I just didn't think you'd guess it at all. We're close enough. Welcome to Pain in the Arts, the podcast where the pursuit of meaningful art meets the unpredictable demands of real life. I am Lyndon.
And I am Brea and Lyndon. Welcome.
I was going to say that we should be celebrating because this is our 10th episode.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, what
A
could we do? We could
Deck
have
episode.
hey?
A deck episode.
Deck episode. Yeah. I thought maybe we had like those party whistles or what are they called? Those streamer things that you
Don't know. Party blower?
Party blower. I think that's what they are.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about what we could do and jumped on the computer before and realised that last week was episode 10.
Oh. Well, we missed it.
So another birthday missed.
Wow. Well, let's celebrate our 100th.
So what else has been happening this week? I can think of a number of things.
I can think of the highlight of the week.
Can
right.
I guess what your highlight of the week is?
Yeah, go.
Okay, 2 words. Mango frenzy.
That was absolutely the highlight. The mangoes up at our shop were 78 cents, and they weren't like the dodgy, runty, half-rotten ones. They were beautiful, fresh, absolutely ready to go, perfect mangoes, 78 cents
I'm
each.
surprised you haven't gone back.
Well, it's been on my mind for days.
You should go back today. Have a
I
look.
should. Well, when I did go up there and they were the 78 cents, I did go a bit crazy. I bought 2 trays worth and came home and spent the whole day eating and cutting mangoes. I froze some. And yeah, we've just been eating heaps of mangoes. We've picked all the plums that we could reach from the tree we talked about last time. So I'm about to stew those. So yeah, it's still happening.
This is interesting. This ties into something that I might talk about in a minute, weirdly enough. I saw a video of my mum this week eating like freshly shucked oysters, like from the shell.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, that looks aggressive.
What do you mean?
Just the way she was eating them, like she'd been shipwrecked for like weeks.
Oh, she was enjoying them that much.
I guess so. Either enjoying or struggling to work out how to tip it in. I don't know. But it occurred to me, like with all the mangoes we've been eating, when you see anyone eat a mango, they're eating it like someone's about to steal it from them.
Oh, yeah. I know. Oh, one of our sons loves them. He definitely eats them like that.
It's so primal.
Well, you've got to get it in before it slops all down the front of you.
So much noise happening and eyes darting around the room to see if, an enemy is approaching. So, yeah, that's why it was a mango frenzy.
It was the mango
There's one
frenzy.
left. We'll have to fight to the death for it.
Once that's cut open. Yep. It's funny. Like I have noticed throughout the years that if people arrive to a party or back home or whatever and they're like, I've just bought a tray of mangoes, like just how pleased with themselves they look.
You would have tipped over their box of mangoes just to make them shut up.
Oh, no. I was jealous always because I was like, who can afford a whole tray of mangoes?
Well, us when they're 79 cents
yes,
each.
I know. We were the lucky ones this week.
Like $9 a tray.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that long ago, it was $6 to buy one mango.
Yeah.
It probably still is in certain places.
Summer mangoes. How much better can it get?
It's a beautiful day today. I feel like I'm up and about because there's so much going on and so much to talk about. And I think, too, last couple of times we've recorded, I've had a migraine. So there you go. Little insider information. Now that I'm actually feeling okay, I'll still sound droll and
no one will tell
because I'm a pro.
This time you're bringing a topic.
I'm bringing a topic.
So, yes.
I promise I'll get to it, but it's not our 10th episode, it's our 11th. We kind of get to this point now where I can't remember what we've spoken about. Like it's been enough episodes gone that I might start telling the same stories over and over again. It's probably not a big deal. I have this little, I wouldn't say a concern, but I'm just hoping that we're not sounding preachy or that we're not sounding like we're whinging all the time. I'm sure we're not, but like, like some of the topics we've spoken about, it's just things that need to be spoken about, but maybe if you just look at them all back to back as topics, it looks like we're...
Bit of a down vibe? Is that what you think?
No, I just don't want the podcast to be us sort of flinging our arms up in the air going, it's all so hard. But here's a tip, which I'm sure it isn't.
Well,
it's not what it's
no,
meant to be.
that's not what we're doing. Hey,
So-
at least we're not doing a true crime podcast. That would definitely feel like the same sad stories week after week.
Yeah. Well, what do they do at the end? They go, well, have a great week. Don't stab anyone.
At least ours isn't
I don't
quite
think they're
that
going to be like
serious.
preachy, but
Well, like, hey, don't feel bad about your endeavors this week.
well, I thought we should talk about the show's theme song. I don't know if we have before.
no,
And
I don't
clearly everyone's heard it, but
Yeah.
we were episodes in and we still didn't have a theme song.
Yeah, that's right. We've been recording the episodes, getting our content together and so on. And in the meantime,
I
you've
hate
been,
that word content, but yeah.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
In the meantime, you've been working at all of the soundtrack stuff for this podcast and others.
The reason, well, one of the reasons I'm bringing this up now is because it's not our 10th episode. But there's something that I did when I wrote this that was sort of for your benefit,
Mm-hmm.
which you'll only know about if I tell you.
Okay,
So,
great. A little hidden gem in the
Yeah,
midst
so-
of the music.
you know how the ABC radio theme music for years, and I think it still is, like for when the news is coming. So on the hour, the news had come.
I know it well.
I'm going to play it for you.
Okay.
All right.
Wow, you went the long version, like the full fanfare.
That was the full 19 seconds. But so the part at the end, you need to sing along with what
No,
you
I
normally
can't
do.
sing it. No.
You got to sing it.
Here comes the news. Now this is okay. I've got to explain, and I can't believe you just made me sing on our podcast.
Well, I didn't. You just couldn't help yourself.
Well, even in the first version, I was mouthing the words because as a child, I would hear that coming on. Mum and Dad always listened to ABC radio, so it was in my day every day. And I knew that that was the intro to the news, but I just put words with it, like, here comes the news. It just seemed to make sense to me. And one day I came out with it. Mum and Dad just cracked up because they didn't know that I was making up words to what was clearly a non-singing part.
It's funny because you know what I'm like around the house. I make up little songs for everything.
Yeah.
And the boys will probably remember some that I made up about their teachers and different things just for fun. I don't know when it was, but we're probably in the car or something and you sung it. And I was like, this would have been like when we were dating. And I was like, what? I think you went, yeah, that's the words. And
Does
ever
everyone
since
know the
then,
words?
every time I hear it, I just hear, here comes the news.
I'm so embarrassed that you brought that up
Why? Really?
because I can't sing. I'm an idiot.
No comment. But so I'm going to play the theme song and see if you can make up words, I suppose. Did you make up any?
Some came to mind.
What were they?
Pain in the arts.
But where?
At the end. Pain in the arts.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Is that the little surprise you have for me? Great. So now I'm never going to be able to listen to that without
Exactly.
thinking.
Pain in the arts. But what I noticed then, I hadn't picked up on this before, because that's the first time I've looked up that theme, the ABC theme.
Hmm.
And I've just noticed it was 19 seconds long. And then when I've pulled up the theme for this podcast, it was 19 seconds
Oh, wow.
long.
Gee, you have had that in your mind.
Yeah. So,
That's
I mean, that's
crazy.
kind of weird, but I'll play it again and you can sing it.
Man, not again.
All together now.
Pain in the arts. I can't believe it. Well, there we go, listeners.
And we have to stress it's arts with a T.
Yeah. I wouldn't sing for anyone but you guys.
So, yeah, it's funny how I did that and just actually never thought to mention it.
Now you've mentioned
Because
it
every time
on
I
air.
hear it, I hear pain in the arts. But that's where it came from is here comes the news. Now, the other thing we've mentioned here and there on the episode so far is about our Patreon. Now, I've been working behind the scenes getting our Patreon ready to launch with no big fanfare because we're probably launching it a year too early. But that's fine. A ton of work has gone into it. And so it's
Well, we wanted to have it right, didn't we?
want to
we
have it
don't
right.
want
Plus, I was learning what is available so that once we start having support on there, we'll be able to deliver, the bonus content and the perks. One of our major bonuses on there is 2 extra podcasts. So there's a lot of learning involved, but we're just going about this quietly and inconspicuously.
learning as we go.
Learning as we go.
Yeah.
And probably also fair to mention that because we're doing this slow marketing and we've chosen to not include social media in that for our own sanity, it does mean that Patreon is going to have a lot of content that you'd probably get on social media. And of course, there's a couple of different tiers, which we've named, and I'll get onto that in a moment.
They're fun.
They have a good mix of bonus content and community building. So we're also trying to create a space there where members can chat with one another, and there'll be different chat threads or chat channels.
Absolutely,
And the premium tier offers all of that stuff, but much closer access to us and to our processes.
Yeah.
I think we've said a number of times that, and it's probably on the website, that you can become a member for less than a cup of coffee a month. Now, that is still true. Well, you can be a free member, so that's true for that.
Yeah, you can
Now,
be absolutely free member.
Paid member, it depends on the size coffee.
Okay. Let's have a think about the coffee sizes.
Or I'll just change. We can't change what we've already said.
Well, hang on. How much is our lowest paid tier?
Okay, so the lowest paid tier is $4 USD.
Right. So US dollars,
US dollars.
$4,
Yeah.
which works out to be what in Australian dollars?
It is about $6 or $6.50.
Right. Well, if people were to buy us each a coffee,
Oh, there you go.
there we go.
There's always a way around
There's always a way. Yeah. Buy each of us a coffee a month. That would be amazing.
Well, if you get
quite a cheap coffee a month too, if it's
Well, I got a small
$3.
almond latte from our local dude, and it was $5.
Yeah,
And
that is not cheap, is it?
that's
It
not
is-
expensive.
No,
like
it's
you
pretty
can
standard
get
at
the
the moment.
same thing somewhere else in Melbourne, and you'd pay $6. When I say small, that's Australian small, which is an 8-ounce cup.
Americans
When we're
pick
in
yourselves
America,
up off the floor.
when we're in America, I don't even think a 12-ounce was a small.
No, it was more like a kid size or I don't know, a piccolo.
I could never get a small. The only
Yeah.
place I think I truly got a small from was in Hawaii.
Yeah,
I think when
Yep,
I
we had some
particularly
good coffee
asked,
there.
I practically went round behind the counter.
yeah.
So,
So-
technically, maybe still.
Still it's around about a cup of coffee a month if you buy it in the midst of Melbourne. If you were to buy each of us a coffee a month, because you can then imagine you're sitting at the table with both Lyndon and I. We're all enjoying a
We
coffee.
just say, yeah, or we just say less than a cup of coffee a week.
Yeah, it's funny. It's
The
become
analogy.
the standard measurement, even though
measure-
there's obviously discrepancies in coffee sizes and prices. But yes, we do drink small almond lattes. Both of us have that as our drink of choice. We've switched to almond milk over the years because it just kind of
I just
doesn't
thought-
taste as milky.
Yeah. I just thought, milk is for carbs.
Almond milk is not even
Almond
anything.
milk is for little almonds. No, I can't remember why I switched, but I think look, I was having 4 coffees a morning for a decade.
Yeah.
At least. And at some point I just thought, I think I'm having this is my thinking.
Right.
I think I'm having too much milk.
Really?
Yeah.
That was your brainwave. See, this is both the advantage and the disadvantage in having a coffee van is that you have 4 coffees a day, but you also have 4 coffees a day. It's
4 coffees in the
a little
morning.
much,
Yeah, between 7 and 12. Dr. Huberman would not endorse that. That is
no,
for sure.
but hey, you're not here for health advice.
Or any advice, really. So it's just funny. I look back and go, yeah, I changed to milk because I was having too much milk. The coffee itself was fine.
It's fine to have 4 shots of coffee.
Oh, now here's
Were they double shots? Or were they just
no
singles?
double ristrettos, which
okay.
basically
Yeah.
no one really understands unless you're
Single shot size.
a proper barista.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's the same amount of coffee as a single shot. So essentially 30 mil or thereabouts.
Yep.
This is something we haven't mentioned. Sold the coffee van.
We sold the coffee van.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. I mean,
I couldn't-
it was a bit overshadowed by the mango frenzy, but that was kind of a big deal in our week.
Speaking of overshadowed, this whole podcast episode is going to be overshadowed by the mango frenzy.
Nothing is ever going to compare to our mango frenzy.
I didn't think today's episode would be about death of birds and mango frenzy.
Yeah, but hey,
Anyway.
that's what happens when we sit down and have a chat.
We have said it before. This is like a date night.
It is, yeah. We get to do all our chit chat that we often don't get to do.
We're not allowed to do
Yeah.
otherwise. So yeah, sold the coffee van, and when Matt had put the offer in, and I decided to accept it, I reckon I had my finger over the button for about 3 minutes before I said, done deal.
Wow.
And
it's hard.
once the car was driven off, I couldn't go out to the garage for about 4 days.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'd
so
look
sad.
out and I'd see the back end of our garage has another sliding door, so that's always been open. So I looked out the back door and I could see into the garage, and I could see that it just didn't look familiar, and I thought,
No.
I can't go out there.
It's empty. The coffee van not there. I mean, the only times when I have been in the home looking out at the garage and it's been empty, it means that you are in the coffee van driving it somewhere. So for me to look out, I kind of have to just remember, the van's gone and you're here somewhere. But for you to look out, like you haven't even had that experience of looking out and not seeing the van in the garage at all.
No,
So,
if
yeah.
I ever had that experience, I would have been thinking someone stole the van.
Yeah.
So that was a big deal. It's
Yeah.
funny, in my little list of notes to myself, that didn't even factor.
So we are no longer coffee traders,
No.
solely making our living from music and writing at this point, or music production and writing. So, and music performance from you.
Yeah, we don't have the coffee empire to fall back on.
No.
It's a massive tongue in cheek there.
Well, it was our little empire.
Wow, emphasis
We
on
did-
little.
We did think about making it into an empire at one stage, but
Not for very long.
yeah. got a little hard.
Yeah. All right, back to the Patreon tier names.
Yeah, tell
Because
us about the tier names.
I'm going to say what they are.
Yep.
I want listeners to see if they can guess why they're called that.
Ah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Right?
So drop us a comment.
Is that the lingo?
I don't know.
Drop us a comment.
Drop
leave
us
a
a
comment.
comment. Yeah.
Send us a. Don't send us an email about that. Do it whatever you
no
like.
one's sending us emails.
Now, I should probably elaborate on these, but
Yeah. Well, you need
so-
to tell us what's involved in each level of
Oh, do I?
membership.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh, well, so
whether
it's a
you want to do it
full-on, like-
now or whether later.
Maybe
But yeah, we'll just
do it later.
a quick rundown. But
so
yeah.
the first one, the free membership, is the caravan.
Yep.
The first paid membership level
Yep.
of support is
For less than a coffee a
for
month.
less than a coffee a year.
Each less than a
For
coffee.
less than is the cabin.
The cabin.
The cabin. Now, the medium membership level or tier,
Yep.
which is the one that has the 2 extra podcasts in it.
Yes.
So that's when it starts
It's getting
really
serious.
serious.
There. Yeah.
That is called the cottage.
Yeah. Cute.
And earlier, when you were talking about, I'm buying mangoes and I'm harvesting plums and I'm going to be stewing them. It's like, that sounds very cottagey.
It does. I need
like
a
the cottage life.
I need a frilly apron to tie on.
So that's probably even more appropriate than I realised. And then the premium tier
Yep.
is the castle.
Ooh. Really residing within the amazement of the podcast. The castle.
And when I say castle,
Yep.
you need to not think of like a big Scottish castle or
Mhm.
but you got to think more of the
course.
movie The Castle. Right?
Yeah.
If you haven't seen The Castle, the movie, it's quintessentially Australian. It's potentially only funny to Australians, but it's a classic. It's probably, oh gosh, do you reckon it's 25 years old?
Yeah, I reckon
now?
it would be, yeah.
Look that up. It's called The Castle.
Based on the
And
premise,
A man's home,
man's
is his
home
castle.
is his castle. Yeah.
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 So we have a tier called the castle, but that's because you're coming much closer into our home.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. A man's home is his castle. So that's the
Tier
quick
names. Yeah.
rundown of the names. If you
Yeah.
can work out why they are called that. Now, did you like the alliteration as well?
Yes, I did note that, yes.
That took a lot of searching.
Thinking about chalets and chateaus.
Well, that would still work.
Chalet would be, yeah.
It hasn't
chalet
got the
would be
hard C.
Yeah,
Hasn't got the hard C.
it's true.
But of course, yeah, there's all kinds of names. Anyway, they're the ones we landed on. We
Yeah.
think they're appropriate.
Check it out on the website or have a
You can
quick
check it out.
on Patreon and then you can see exactly the list.
Maybe this whole idea today, I don't even need to do.
I
But
mean, I'm looking at you. You've got 2 pages of notes there. Have we not even started talking about
no,
what
none of
you've
them.
brought? Oh my!
But that's okay because my notes aren't proper notes. So I wouldn't get too hung up on the fact that I've brought pages.
Okay, it's okay though. I'll just avert my eyes
Why are you stressed?
because if I had 2 pages of notes, I'd have a timeline in mind. I'd have
You brought
dot points.
You brought about 10 pages the other day.
I did, and we
to-
didn't
to
quite
an
get through it,
episode.
but that's
I
okay.
mean, I just looked at that and went, sorry, have you turned up to the wrong podcast?
We have
And then
slightly
realised
different styles.
It wasn't possible because you live here. I thought, no, I think she's in the right spot.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe just lost her mind for a moment. I think that was our special episode, which is why I thought this was number 10 because
Right.
one of the earlier episodes was an extra one.
One for Rare Diseases Day,
Yeah.
which
So,
is
yeah,
a great one. So go listen to that if you want a little bit more information on us, where we're coming from. That's the one to go to.
yeah. Well, I reckon I could smash this out in
Yeah,
10
go.
minutes.
Let's do it. I'll not interrupt.
Now, the good thing about this is I am certainly not going to be carrying on and offering solutions and all this sort of stuff. It's literally, this is the title.
Okay.
I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm doing it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I would suggest that everything that we've just spoken about would prove that I have no idea what I'm doing, and so I'm going to talk about everything but this. And I'm also a little bit wary of. I think we've introduced topics before, and then once we've finished talking, we go, actually, this is what we spoke about. And you know what? We'll be doing more on this in future episodes. So maybe this will just be a little teaser. I think I have admitted that I am a recovering perfectionist.
Yes. I think
I don't know if we
I think
did
a
it.
couple of times we've mentioned to friends, we did an episode about perfectionism. Lyndon decided he wasn't a perfectionist, and our friends have literally scoffed in our faces.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I met up with your Uncle Phil on the weekend, And
Hey, Uncle Phil.
it,
Shout out.
it came up somehow. And now keep in mind that we don't see a lot of Phil,
No, sadly.
sadly, because we
love
get
him.
along really well.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting how that happens? But something came up that I brought up. Maybe I was saying I didn't think that I was a true perfectionist, and he laughed. And he said, what? No. I'm like, how would you? I was like, well, if he thinks that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a crippling disease.
But as you said, you're recovering slowly.
So I like this. So I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm doing it anyway. So if I can do it. But I guess that we're talking about embracing uncertainty and imperfection.
Yeah.
And being able to move forward. So have we done an episode on perfectionism or not?
We have, yeah.
Okay.
But I was the one
it felt
that
like
brought,
an intervention, that's right.
I was the one that brought that topic.
Oh,
And
that's
we
right.
just sort of talked about
And
it.
you
And
said-
you seemed to be so surprised when I said, yeah, it's something that you.
that's right. I
you've
remember
been
now.
something.
You brought it forward like you've introduced it and said a little bit about it, and then you said something like, so, Lyndon, is that how it is for you and your perfectionism? I was like, what? What are you talking about?
Well, you are quite the well-known perfectionist.
Anyway,
So-
okay. Something I really love about the studio is coming in with just the bare bones of an idea and then building on it. It's like making stuff up as you go.
Yeah.
And I like that. And I hate the fact that sometimes or a lot of the time it's the other part of my personality that gets in the way of that. Anywho, so I do feel like I have no idea what I'm doing and I'm doing it anyway. And just weirdly enough, I was watching a YouTube video of John Bollinger, who is a well-known columnist for Premier Guitar Magazine. He's all over YouTube. Seems like a really nice guy, and he's just turned 60. And so he was talking about things that he's learnt in his journey of being a professional muso for 44 years.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and one of the things he mentioned was that no one has any idea what they're doing. Yeah. He said he was talking to a famous session person recently who said that they were there sitting in a studio cutting tracks with some of the best musicians in the world,
Yeah.
and they were looking around going, I have no idea what I'm doing. But they were
Wow.
also one of the best session musos in the world.
Yeah. Okay.
And
yeah.
everyone in there feels the same way. So it's one of these things, isn't it? Which I like about this industry that we're in, or, you know, being in the arts, is that I don't like that feeling, but I like the fact that we're always learning.
And what's good about that is the flip side of it is anything's possible. We could do anything right now. Like we could do anything with this, you know, in my case, this blank page.
Yeah.
Anything could be written on this.
Yeah,
There's no formula you have to follow or something that is pre-designed for you. Like you can make those choices. So yeah.
Yeah. I've been working on reclaiming curiosity,
Yeah.
you know, my curiosity, because I do think, and maybe I've skipped ahead, I do think that the curiosity is key to creativity and to
Yes.
moving forward.
I agree 100%. I think that it is the key.
Oh, we should get married.
Wow. Such proposal.
We
And it's something that
agree.
everybody's kind of got. But yeah, I think if you do feed into that and allow that spark of curiosity to be what drives you and give time to it and let it speak, then you definitely open yourself up to more creative ideas and following tracks that you might not have done otherwise.
I came across a quote this week from Kitty Knorr. I believe that's how you say her last name. And I mean, she sort of puts it across as an instruction or even a command. And she said, it's okay to fail your way forward, which I thought was really great.
Yeah.
Because it
Really great way of putting it.
Yeah, and it feels like an antidote to perfectionism.
Yeah.
It's like a license to be kind to myself
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, that's right.
I think I'm always looking for these little keys that when I recognize that, I'm letting me get in the way of what I'm doing,
Yeah.
just go do it, try it, and then it doesn't work. Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't have to have everything figured out from the beginning. And I think for me too, a lot of that stems from always feeling like I'm under a time constraint. That's where a lot of it comes from. And I think
And I
we
think
have
we've
spoken
touched on
about
that
about
before
that
as well.
Yeah. So I've talked
Yeah.
about it like in terms of when I was doing coffee every morning and then I'm rushing to get to the studio and then I feel like I've only got so much time. Part of being a healthy, creative person is knowing that it's okay to spend a couple of hours sitting in the sunshine, reading a book or listening to music. That you have to do that. So when those things, they're either stripped away or you don't make them available to yourself, it makes it a bit harder. And of course, I have mentioned about migraines in the past, so I'm always chasing my tail trying to recover for lost time.
And I think just on that point, on the grander scale, that we need to challenge the notion of, I should have done this by, I should have written this by the time I was 20. I should have achieved this by the time I was like, because it's silly. It's like, what's the arbitrary numbers there of like what time in your life you're creating something or, producing the thing that's been in your mind to produce. Like it's nothing. And we really get hung up on those kind of timelines.
Yeah, that'll be a good topic for another time.
Yeah,
for
it'd be
sure.
good to explore that. Yep.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Now you know what you're doing
There we go.
next week. So failing your way forward. That's just really nicely put. Well done, Kitty. Maybe I'll put a link to her Instagram down below.
Yep.
Now, speaking of your Uncle Phil.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how these things all sort of align when you're thinking about them? You just notice them, I guess. Your uncle came to see a gig I was doing at a winery on the weekend.
Yeah.
I should say hi to Steve and Rebecca at Greenstone Vineyards. Their Shiraz was nice.
I'm a bit jealous.
The Estate Shiraz.
I'll have to try to come to the next one out
Heathcote.
there, I think, yeah.
Yeah, the view is amazing and, I mean, obviously I've seen it before.
Yeah.
So your Uncle Phil recently started building guitars.
Yes.
So he's got a Instagram page called Great Skate Custom Guitars.
Yep.
I'm going to put a link to this as well.
Yep.
Now, the reason it's this name is because they're made from reclaimed, recycled skateboards.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like that's what a great idea.
It is pretty cool.
Something very different.
They look cool.
Yeah.
We were talking about his building of these guitars.
Yeah.
He's been a furniture builder
Yeah.
his entire career.
Yep.
So he's definitely got the skills. But I did ask him whether he shapes the necks himself.
Yep.
Or whether, he buys the necks in or whatever. He goes, no, I do it. He goes, no, I do it myself. I love it. And I said, if I had to shape the necks, I would be so riddled with anxiety of making a mistake. He said, no, I love it. He goes, and if I make a mistake, I can just start again or do another one. He goes, it's not a big deal. And I was like, what? And then I think he even said,
Wisdom.
He goes, yeah, if you like, come over and I'll show you how to do it.
Wow. Well, he's so right. I mean,
I know
it's not
he's
like there's
right.
anyone watching going, you only got one shot at this.
It just shows you how much, like for me.
So that's
with
where that
different things-
perfectionism gets in the way, you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fear thing too.
Yeah.
A fear of making a mistake.
Yeah. I tell you, with that fear, like I have that too actually sometimes, going, I've got to get this right, like this story or this scene or whatever, because the nebulous sort of thought of the inspiration, if I stuff up the execution of it, then it's gone. Then I've wrecked it. It's like I've put mud in it. I'll never be able to write it cleanly again. I've wrecked it. So I only do have that one shot. And I don't actually know if that's true or not. And it actually probably isn't, because I know I've rewritten things many times and it's worked out better. And the rewrite is usually actually better than the original one. And I used to be much more into like one shot at it and try to get it right. Now I do a lot more rewriting and editing of my original thing. And the important thing is just to get it down. But yeah, that thought of like wrecking the original inspiration by your first attempt, like if you don't get it right, that is a big real thing. And maybe with something like creating a piece of music, or writing something that doesn't exist. Maybe that is more, I don't know, it's more abstract than maybe the neck of a guitar. Like you already kind of know the shape of it. I don't know. Maybe that's not correct. Maybe every neck is different, and
Oh, yeah.
yeah, maybe it's exactly the same thing.
But if you see someone shaping a neck and the way that they do it, it can look quite ruthless.
Yeah, right.
To begin with, yeah. And I would just be like way too scared that, if I take off too much timber here, there's no going back. You can't.
Yeah, right. Okay, yeah. So you would do a lot slower and more painstakingly trying to.
Oh, I don't even want to think about it.
Your face when you are thinking about it. He's just literally sagged in your chair.
I know.
Go and watch Uncle Phil do it.
My grandfather was a carpenter.
Yeah.
And I know he was a very good one. He did not like seeing dodgy carpentry.
Yeah.
Like he was, obviously he was old school, but
yeah. Same with my grandfather, strangely enough, which is Phil's father. So yeah, they were both had their woodworking workshops.
And as much as you saw my face drop, I do think had I gone into that profession, not that I ever wanted to, but I do, I do work with my hands and I do like using the right tools and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I love Uncle Phil's solution there. Just do it. And if you get it wrong, you can just do it again.
Yeah. It's nice being around people that are that good at what they do, but are that relaxed about it. And I think to be a luthier, you sort of need to be. To be a craftsman, you've just got to let it flow through you and have that confidence in your ability and know that if you get it wrong, you just start again. Otherwise, how would you?
Otherwise, your skill, that is how you build your skill and your expertise is by doing it a lot and getting it wrong a lot.
Can we have a segment called Lyndon talks about stuff he's got no idea about? So master crafts, master woodworking. I think
funny. So not just this episode, but a section every
episode. Pretty much every week. We'll just have
us talk about stuff we don't know what we're talking about.
Well, I think it's something that I do mainly. So I guess all in all, it comes down to listen to Kitty and be more like Uncle Phil.
Yeah, there we go.
That's it.
Yeah.
Don't you think? Listen to Kitty,
sums us up
be
perfectly.
like Uncle Phil.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay to fail. It's okay to stumble along the way. I think definitely persistence is why I'm still here, failing my way forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
And kicking goals occasionally.
Yeah.
So good on me.
Yep.
And good on everyone that's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And more power to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Keep that curiosity going.
Now, we did say that we'd expand further on these names of these tiers. We're not going to tell you why they are named.
No, you've got to tell us why.
Let me give some clues, maybe.
Yep.
So we did mention the caravan. That's the free tier. So that's the starting point.
Mm-hmm. Free membership.
A moving home for the creatively curious. You receive basic updates, participate in polls, and join our open community chat to share ideas and inspiration with fellow travellers. The first paid membership tier is called The Cabin. It's where you'll gain early access to public podcast episodes and join the Q&A thread. It's a cozy space for exchanging thoughts and questions with us and fellow supporters.
Fantastic. And how much is that?
$4 US. Yeah. Everything's in US dollars.
Everything's in US dollars because it seems to be the international standard.
The second membership tier is called The Cottage. It's where the fires of inspiration burn brighter. Brea.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy access to 2 subscriber-only podcasts released fortnightly.
Now, that is the thing you really want to get into.
You've also got access to Q&A live events.
Yeah.
For real-time creative discussions and everything from the cabin.
Yeah, that is great.
The castle is the premium tier. It's a home for the visionaries and dreamers who make it all possible.
Yeah.
So you'll receive an invitation to our private AMA group, which is Ask Me Anything.
Yep.
And how's this? You'll get a personal supporter credit in the audio book that you're writing, Bree.
Yes.
So Bree's writing a novel. Of course, we're doing the audio book, and that's why I'm writing the soundtrack for that. And so you'll get a personal credit in that
Yep.
also.
Nice.
So that is pretty cool.
Acknowledgement of your support. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Another
the
event.
cabin is like buying us each a cup of coffee for the month, and you get an extra 2 podcasts.
Yeah.
And those podcasts are pretty much following along the processes of how we're putting together the novel and the music, obviously separate podcasts.
Yeah.
Well, they are cool. They are exciting, I think. So anyway, so there you go.
You'll enjoy them. So go check out the Patreon.
Wasn't meant to be a massive Patreon plug, but it's
Well,
probably
we're talking
prudent.
about what we've been doing with Patreon. So, yeah, might as well say what people will get if they want to join at any of those membership tiers.
And the support is important. I sort of was blindly going along thinking that apart from our time, there was no actual real cost to us. And then I discovered that, no, there actually is a cost to doing
there
this.
Is a cost.
Who would have thought?
There's some software costs with the editing that goes on. There's all sorts of things.
So, I mean,
Please
even
support the show.
so even like, it doesn't sound like a lot, like $4 a month, but it really makes a difference to us.
Definitely makes a difference to us. Helps us keep putting this show out.
And the other thing is the community side of it. I think we're actually really looking forward to that and being able to connect with people.
Yeah, we were really excited to discover that would be quite a crucial part of our Patreon experience for our listeners, is that community interaction, that ability for you guys to tell us what you're doing and to share between one another, different experiences, thoughts, and so on. So do get involved and connect with others who are also having some pain in the arse.
You brought home a German backpacker tourist.
I did. It was
Just
overshadowed by
blue.
mango frenzy.
I've gone to park my car and there's a hippie van in the driveway.
I brought her home from
What's going on?
our local bushland where I was walking Birdie. Yeah.
And it's interesting. I only spoke to her for half an hour or so before I had to leave, but I did feel like it expanded our world a little bit. It was nice.
Ah, yes. So good
I mean,
to
it's
hear
always
about
nice to
where
have
she lives.
someone come over and have a bit of a chat, which doesn't happen a lot for us. So, yeah, to have someone from Germany showing us pictures of where she lives and talking about her country and different parts of Europe, afterwards I just felt like my world had expanded. So as much as the community will be a cool thing for people to be involved with, I think it'll actually be fun for us as well.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing you guys tell us about your lives, what you're doing creatively, your interest in the podcast is, and sharing a bit more about yourselves.
You have been listening to Pain in the Arts. You can support the show on patreon.com. Visit our website, paininthearts.life. Follow our show wherever you get your podcasts. Until next week, thanks for listening.
See you then.
Bye.